We're staying with the news of the death of the leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, Edwin Clark. His death is coming barely 4 days after the death of the leader of the Pan-Yoruba social-cultural group, Afenifere, Ayo Adebanjo. His brother and son, Panaway, announced that he died on Monday in Abuja. He was 97 years old. Edwin Clark was an Ijaw leader, politician, and a leading voice for regional and national unity. He was known for mediating peace among warring communities and politicians in the Niger Delta region. Last year, he set up a committee to reconcile Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. The family, who called for prayers at this time, said all the details will be announced in due course. Now, here is what we know about the life and times of the elder statesman. He was born in May 1927. He attended primary and secondary schools at Efuru, Okrika, and Afugbene, and completed his studies at the Government Teacher Training College. His political career began, and the elder statesman worked with administrations of military governor Samuel Ogbemudia and head of state General Yakubu Gowon between 1966 and 1975. He went on to become a member of the advisory committee to the military governor of the then Midwestern Region province, David Ejo. He was also appointed the Midwestern Commissioner for Education and later Finance. Edwin Clark was appointed Federal Commissioner for Information in 1975 under the Gowon regime. He was active in the establishment of Midwest College of Technology that became the foundation of the University of Benin. He was an unofficial advisor to President Goodluck Jonathan. He has quite an impact in the education sector. He founded the Edwin Clark Foundation and established a university in his hometown. He was a member of the National Executive Committee of the National Party of Nigeria. Edwin Clark was elected senator for 3 months under the Shagari administration in 1983. The elder statesman was the leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum. Now, condolence messages have started to pour following the death of the leader of PANDEF. President Bola Tinubu says he is deeply saddened by the passing of Edwin Clark. President Tinubu, in a statement by his special advisor on information and strategy, said Mr. Clark led an illustrious life marked by dedicated service at different times to the nation and his community as councillor, state and federal cabinet member. He described him as a passionate advocate for resource control, economic and environmental justice in the Niger Delta. Reflecting on the life of the late statesman, President Tinubu says Edwin Clark was a towering figure whose influence was felt across Nigeria's political space for nearly 6 decades. On behalf of the federal government, the president extended his condolences to Edwin Clark family, the Ijaw nation, the people of the Niger Delta, and the government of Delta State. A former governor of Abia State and senator representing Abia North Senatorial Zone, Orji Uzor Kalu, on his part says the late politician served Nigeria and Niger Delta meritoriously in different positions. The former governor added that the late Federal Commissioner of Information would be remembered for his contributions to the social, political, and economic development of Niger Delta and Nigeria at large. In a condolence message, Senator Kalu urged the Clark family to uphold the good deeds of their late patriarch. The former governor also condoled with Delta State government and prayed God to grant the deceased peaceful rest and the Clark family the fortitude to bear the loss. Now, for more on the death of the leader of PANDEF, senior reporter Ademola Lawrence joins me from the nation's capital. Ademola, I understand that you are at his residence in the nation's capital. What more can you tell us, and what's the mood there?
Okay, Precious, early this morning, very early this morning, there was a prayer that was said in respect of Edwin Clark, and of course, from what I gathered when I got here, I was made to understand that at 11:30 p.m. that was when he actually passed on. And I can also tell you that dignitaries have already been trooping into this place. The former governor of Akwa Ibom, Senator Bongata, actually was here, and of course, Senator James was also here. Some PANDEF members were already here, and of course, senators from the Middle Belt are also here to give condolence to the families of the late PANDEF man. But one of the things that I can also tell you that the issue about whether Edwin Clark, of course, is the Middle Belt political leader cannot be quantified, because, as a matter of fact, all politicians from the Middle Belt are actually here, trying to make sure that they pay their condolences. I can also tell you that the former governor of Bayelsa State is live here at the house of the late Pan-Niger man. Now we're going to listen to the former governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Eric Dixon. So, sorry, sir, I just want to talk to you. When you got the news that that Edwin Clark passed on, how did you take it? He's out, one of the son of the soil from the south?
Well, first as a Nigerian, because his contribution was first to Nigeria before to South. Pan-Dev was one of the activities he came up with as a response to the exigencies of the moment, but he had lived all his life serving Nigeria. So Pan-Dev was one of his last initiatives. And even in Pan-Dev, he has mentored and left worthy successors to continue. So talking as a Nigerian, we've lost a great Nigerian leader, one of the key fathers of our nation. And as I was saying a short while ago, to lose our father, Pa Adebanjo, and 2-3 days thereafter to lose our foremost leader and father, Pa Edwin Clark, is more than a coincidence. But as I said, it's as if two of them agreed to depart at this time. But there's no doubt that in their lives, they tried their best, served meritoriously with dedication and passion for everything they believed in, with passion and with courage. You've done everything, no retirement, no leave, no transfer, as we say. Even at 97, still serving. But I think it was time for him to rest.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you just this last question. The two of them, Pa Adebanjo and Pa Edwin Clark, one of the things that they stood for was restructuring Nigeria. Do you think that we can still have that now that these two great men have left the shores of the earth?
Well, it's a big question. It's a big question, but the fight for an inclusive Nigeria will not end with the two of them. Pa Clark and even Pa Adebanjo, they both in their lives made very clear what their vision of a Nigeria should be. And over the years, for a lifetime of 50, 60 years, for both of them, of service, they've also mentored a lot of children. And I'm one of them. The son, one of the several sons of Pa Adebanjo, politically. And also, one of the very close and dear sons of Pa Clark, as you know. And for several others also. You can't even count those they have mentored and raised on the ideals of what a Nigeria should be. So I believe that the fight for a new Nigeria, an egalitarian Nigeria, a Nigeria of equal citizenship, an inclusive Nigeria, which, in the words of our old anthem, that is now our current anthem, will build a nation where no one is oppressed. That's what these two men and all their compatriots, that's what they stood for. I believe that those ideals will go on. The fight for restructuring, the fight for a federal Nigeria, the fight to ensure proper devolution of powers to the federating units, the fight to redefine our nation and also redefine who a Nigerian is or should be. it will not end with their departure. But losing the two of them few days apart is a very terrible blow. It's like a major forest where suddenly you see the greatest of the trees just falling down overnight. So a terrible wind has taken down biggest Iroquois in the forest. But the forest still goes on. Young trees will grow and mature and hopefully carry on with all the good fights. The fight to ensure that we have a Nigeria that is properly restructured, a Nigeria that is federal, not only in name, a Nigeria where everyone will be equal as citizens, living under the law and under the Constitution, and a Constitution that is fair and just to all. Those fights were not personal to them. And as long as you have a Nigerian federation, the quest for equity and justice and fairness and inclusion will go on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And that is, of course, Senator Henry Dixon, the former governor of Bayelsa State, speaking to us live from the house of Edwin Clark, who just passed on at the age of 97 yesterday. Back to you, Precious.
Thank you so much, Ademola, for that just statement coming from the former governor, very profound, talking about not just him, but also Pa Adebanjo, who died about 4 days ago. Thank you, our senior reporter, Ademola Lawrence, live for us at the residence of the late leader of the Pan-Def, Edwin Clark. We'll bring